We have already described to you how we can consciously travel to the astral world. However, did you know that we already go to the astral world every night? Who can deny the reality of dreams? Sometimes the dreams are pleasant, and other times not so pleasant. Sometimes they inform us about future dangers.
Could you please explain to us the mystery of dreams? What are dreams and why do we get them?
I have already explained to you that each of us is a mathematical point in space, which acts as a vehicle regarding specific sums of good or bad values. Death is a subtraction of fractions. Once the mathematical operation is finished, the only thing left are the white or black values. In accordance with the law of eternal return, it is ostensible that the values returned, they reincorporate. If a man becomes more consciously concerned about the little cycle of the recurring events of his personal life, he will then be able to verify by himself, through direct mystical experience, the fact that in nightly dreams, the same mathematical operation as in death is always repeated. When the physical body is absent during normal sleep, the values that have submerged into the astral light attract and repel one another, according to the laws of universal magnetism. Coming back to the waking state implies, in fact and by right, a return of the values to the interior of the physical body. So this is what happens to us when we dream.
Very interesting. How is it possible that this dream world allows us to perceive what is going to happen in the future? How does this happen?
In order to give a coherent explanation for all these enigmas, we should undoubtedly take into account the teachings of a great man and sage who revolutionized the sciences of the 20th century, Albert Einstein. Einstein, the father of the theory of relativity, demonstrated that if we vibrate the atomic structure of any material object at the square of the velocity of light, 300,000 kilometers per second, it leaves the physical plane and penetrates the energetic one. Above and below the physical and material region wherein we live, there exist other regions or worlds of manifestation which are not physical, and yet they are as real as this one. One of those worlds is precisely where we go every night, while our physical bodies sleep in bed. Our psychic material, namely our consciousness, trapped in all the undesirable elements that make up the ego, the myself, escapes the body in those moments and, free from shape, it lives in regions that are parallel to this physical and three-dimensional one, where we live during the day. When the physical body begins to sleep, the above-mentioned energy becomes volatile. It separates from the connections that link it with the three-dimensional physical organism and enters other parallel dimensions. The unfortunate and regrettable thing is that this separation takes place in an unconscious way. Therefore, the person is unaware of the mechanisms that process when we are taken into the world of dreams, which is also known in our studies as the astral world. It is good for our students to know that such a region is also where the deceased go when they are disembodied. Maybe now many people will understand why they have sometimes met in their dreams persons that are already dead, and they have even talked to them as if they were alive in a shocking, natural way. This astral world is the fourth dimension of modern science, where time no longer works and therefore past and future can be seen together. It is for this reason that Plato said that it is possible to see scenes of our own future in dreams.
Thanks for describing the relevance and importance of dreams to us in today's life. Are there different types of dreams that we can have? Or we all have similar dreams?
There are several types of dreams. In effect, on the one hand, we find the mechanical dreams, the sort of experience which is related, as we already indicated, to the 5 inferior centers of our human machine. If any of us leads a life overflowing with diverse activities that are stressful or full of worries, etc., it is normal that the type of dreams we have are related to those experiences we are facing daily. Undoubtedly, not all dreams are related to the 5 inferior centers of our organic machinery. Our students must not forget that we have 2 other centers, the superior intellectual and emotional ones. Certainly, the dreams related to the 2 superior centers are very interesting. When the superior centers are fully unfolded within us, it is easy to receive this kind of superior message, which we must learn to grasp consciously. If we study the superior type of dreams, we may find the well-known prophetic or admonitory dreams and symbolic dreams. What is a prophetic dream? Let's see an example. Imagine for a moment that a pleasant citizen sees, during sleep hours, that he and his family are in a beautiful wintry spot, enjoying the white and icy snow. A few moments later, he observes in these visions an avalanche, burying several skiers who are nearby. It is most probable that such a dream will make no sense to him when he wakes up. But it is possible that later on, in some wintry place, and surely not remembering such an experience, you suddenly say, "I had already dreamt of this. There was an avalanche and innocent people died." And just after these thoughts have gone through your psyche, the announced tragedy takes place. The other type of dream connected with the 2 superior centers is the symbolic dream. It is convenient to know that the language we use to communicate with one another, the many tongues typical of the peoples, is not the only language that exists. Those who have dissolved the whole of the psychological aggregates within themselves and enjoy having a completely awakened consciousness have access to a superior language, a magical and powerful language, the language humankind used to speak formally before they degenerated into vices and perversions. The solar intelligences, or gods, use a 3rd kind of language to guide us. The symbolic one, similar to the one used by humans, for instance, in their traffic signs. That is a universal language, understood by either an Eastern or Western person, a timeless language which has not changed its expression through time. The symbolic language is a quick, precise, concrete language. With good reason, the proverb says, "One image is better than 1,000 words." This is the language in the Pharaoh of Egypt's dreams, which was wisely interpreted by Joseph. This language is similar to the one in Jesus' parables. Those who interpret everything in a literal way think that the farmer of the Christic gospel went out to sow his seed and that it fell on rocky places, etc. But they do not understand the meaning of such a parable, for it in itself belongs to the symbolic language of the superior emotional center. Does someone mention a certain number in a dream? Did you see one of your teeth falling out? Did a tree become alive and speak with you? Did you go up a mountain and find precious coins? Were you packing your bags at home? Were you waiting for a train to come, and did you get on when it arrived? Those are symbols that go beyond the mere rational formalism messages that are directed towards the human being's consciousness. We must get ready to comprehend this language. Only intuition and the awakened consciousness will enable us to unveil the meaning concealed in symbols. Many sincere people who are mistaken think that they do not have any dreams. What really happens is that we do not remember our dreams. The state of unconsciousness in which we live, with a too heavy egoic load, makes it impossible for us to bring to the physical body the awareness of the experiences we have in the astral body. Hence, we need to comprehend the urgent need to awaken our consciousness. The letter they delivered to us in our dreams is too important.
So if what you're saying is true, then there must be a lot of historical accounts where people have recorded their dreams. If dreams are such a natural part of human life, then it must be known in all cultures, all civilizations.
Let's start with Buddha. The tradition asserts that this virtuous man was conceived when Queen Maya, his beloved mother, dreamt of a white elephant, which descended from heaven. Besides that, it was the young Buddha himself who discovered his vocation through another dream. The Bible quotes many oniric passages. Joseph's image appears in one of them, a humble man who was very well rewarded by destiny due to his expertise in interpreting dreams. The Pharaoh at that time had a dream. He was standing by the Nile when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the riverbank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 ears of corn, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other ears of corn sprouted thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin ears of corn swallowed up the 7 healthy full ears. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears of corn are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that come up afterwards are 7 years. And so are the 7 worthless ears of corn, scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt. But 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. And the 7 years of famine began just as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food. It is opportune to say that every religion, in its glorious original greatness, has never forgotten that the divine, which exists within man, may guide him in his life very accurately. Therefore, nobody will be surprised to know that the Talmud, a sacred book among the Jews, just like the Christian Bible, is full of many oniric observations, says very solemnly that a dream which has not been understood is like a letter which has not been opened. This is why among the ancient peoples, such as the Babylonians and Assyrians, any man who wanted to make an important decision asked his oniromancer, interpreter of dreams, for advice first. To the Egyptians, for instance, interpreting dreams was a terribly sacred religious and scientific art. In the British Museum specifically, a comprehensive papyrus on dreams is still kept. The experts say that it was written 4,000 years ago. And here is an account from our founder of contemporary Gnosis, Samael Onweor, relating his own story. This teacher's consciousness allowed him to enter the dark and enigmatic threshold of history. Let's see. I remember very vividly my Roman reincarnation, known by the name of Julius Caesar. Then I had to sacrifice myself for humankind and establish the scenery for the fourth sub-race of our fifth root race. God preserve me. Rising to the clouds over one's friends is truly not easy at all. And however, it is evident that to the Roman aristocracy's surprise, I achieved so. I do not feel proud when I relate this, for I know quite well that it is only the eye which likes to go up, to reach the top of the stair, to be conspicuous, etc. I just do my duty and tell the story. That's all. The right to rule over that empire was certainly not given to me gratis or free. The divine and the humans know very well how much I suffered. I would have been quite able to save myself from the wicked plot if only I had listened to the old astrologer who used to visit my mansion. Unfortunately, the demon of jealousy was torturing my heart. That old man was a very good friend of Calpurnia, and I did not like that. In the morning of the tragic day, when I got up from the nuptial bed, my head crowned with laurels, Calpurnia told me her dream in a vision at night. She had seen a star falling from the skies to the earth. Then she warned me by begging me not to go to the Senate. My wife's supplications were useless. "Today I shall go to the Senate," I answered in an imperative way. "Remember that today a friendly family invited us for lunch on the outskirts of Rome." "You accepted the invitation," Calpurnia answered. "I cannot attend that lunch," I objected. "Will you keep the family waiting then?" "I must go to the Senate." A few hours later, accompanied by a charioteer, I was going in a war chariot to the capital of the Roman Eagle. Very soon I got there among the excited crowds. Tremendous acclamation. "Hail Caesar!" they cried. Suddenly, in an unusual way, the old astrologer appears facing me, the one who had previously warned me about the Ides of March and the terrible danger. He secretly delivers a piece of parchment to me with the names of the plotters. The poor old man wanted to save me, but it was all useless. I ignored him. Besides, I was very busy listening to so many illustrious Romans. Then, feeling invincible and invulnerable in my typical Caesarean way, I advanced towards the Senate, through the Olympian columns of the Capitol. But alas, the plotters were lurking behind those heroic columns. The steely edge of the assassin dagger tore my back. Used to so many battles, I instinctively tried to hold my sword. But I felt dismayed. I see Brutus and exclaim, "You too, my son!" Then the terrible parka take my soul away.
We are very grateful not only to this account, but also your explanations about them. Yes, most people have dreams, especially during childhood. But as they grow up, they do not remember them much. How can we take advantage of our dreams to know about ourselves?
It is opportune to remember that every dream, no matter how absurd or incoherent it is, has a meaning, for it indicates not only the psychic center it is associated with, but also the psychological state of such a center. History itself shows us how the great evildoers and tyrants were struck by bad dreams. Let's remember the great sufferings Pontius Pilate's wife had in a dream the night before the Roman procurator condemned Jesus Christ to death. It is popularly said that good and pious people sleep like the just. Whoever wants to know entirely his own psychological background must become a spy on his own dreams. What are the mental workings during sleep? What emotions shake and disquiet us? Have we taken into account our sexual states during sleep? We must be sincere to ourselves. With good reason did Plato say, "You know a man by his dreams." Many penitents who boasted about being chaste were submitted to test in the inner worlds. They failed in the sexual center and suffered nocturnal emissions. You want to be responsible for everything except your dreams? What miserable weakness, what lack of courage and logic! Nothing belongs more to you than your dreams, said emphatically the great German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. The question of the wrong workings of the centers is a subject that requires a lifetime study through an active self-observation and rigorous examination of dreams.